safely, yes. Right, yeah. That's my final answer. Cooking safely. I'm terrible.
I'm a straight donation station in Jupiter.
If you're low on cash, call Saw him.
Do it. Give us a moment, FP. Give us a moment. Right in the middle.
No, please.
Can we just please stop saying this a moment ago?
Subtle signs that you're playing with a stick.
A bag? You want me to be intimidated by a fucking bag?
What is up, golf sickos? I was coming in here this morning. I was bumping some Big X the Plug. Shout out Dustin Johnson. Said if he could listen to one artist for the rest of his life, it would be Big X the Plug. I said, why? He said, oh, no, I like his music. I'm joined by Ben Boscovich. And me saying that was an ode to how excited I am. That was another great week on the PGA Tour. We got the Players' Championship this week. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling myself.
It's a big week.
It's a big, big week. Another epic week on the Florida swing. Look, winning is hard. Winning is really hard. We saw it last week with Shane Lowry. Played 15 incredible holes and then 3 horrendous holes. And we saw it a little bit to a lesser extent yesterday with Daniel Berger, who I would like to buy Dan Berger, from the Pink Panther. I would like to buy Dan Berger. He had a 4-shot lead when we hopped on the watch along, and it evaporated. And part of that was due to the incredible play of Akshay Bhatia. I was feeling a little guilty because I was saying Ashtray, to the point where it feels weird for me to say Akshay. But I asked Akshay. I almost said it again there. I almost said Ashtray. I asked Akshay in our winter interview, which we have coming on the show here, and he explained that everyone on tour calls him that, and it's totally his nickname, so I don't feel bad anymore. We have an interview with Akshay Bhatia. We have an interview with Ricky Castillo, and we know about that pronunciation now because Ben asked him himself. We have an incredible Dankings. Dankings is just sicko shit today. We have a new sponsor.
That's right.
And we have a lot of picks for the Players' Championship. I also have an official statement, but we'll start with a little bit of a recap of the action at Bay Hill. So Akshay Bhatia now has 3 wins at the age of 24. Now this guy, like Blades Brown, eschewed, you like that word? Eschewed college golf to turn pro right out of high school and took a lot of heat for it. Anytime a guy with how advanced college golf is now decides not to go, there's some second guessing. He bet on himself. It has turned out beautifully. I think he's second in the FedEx Cup. And, I tweeted when Justin Rose won at Torrey Pines that, in a game increasingly dominated by youth, it was incredibly impressive that Justin Rose is still doing this at the age of 45. And Andy Johnson from the Fried Egg said, is it really, dominated by youth? I feel like that's a take from 3 years ago. Well, the last 6 winners on the PGA Tour, Chris Gotterup, 26 years old. Colin Morikawa, 29 years old. Jacob Bridgman, 26 years old. Nico Echeverria, 31 years old. Old as shit. I'm 31. He's just retired already. Akshay Bhatia, 24 years old. Ricky Castillo, 24 years old. So the last 6 winners in average age of 26.6. And it feels like Akshay has been around forever because he turned pro at 17, and we've been hearing it about him for so long. But he's still just 24. I don't think he turns 25 until October. So he's not even 24 and a half, which we still use for people who are under 25.
You can use the half.
And he's more than 2 years younger than Ludwig Oberg. So he's still just a baby out there. And it was a chaotic finish. So Akshay is a few shots back, pretty much the whole back 9. And he birdies 4 in a row on the back 9 to get himself right back in the mix. Then he has a bogey, a momentum-killing bogey on 15. And then hits almost an albatross, almost a double eagle, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. On the 16th hole, Berger had to 2-putt. It was chaotic. Here's us on the watch along, watching it all unfold. Daniel Berger for a playoff. Got it!
Oh, man, he did.
I literally said missed it, got it. Oh, look at he's looking at the crowd like, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, you like that layup?
Oh my God, I thought he missed it low. I literally thought he missed it. You will not get that reaction on the broadcast where the guy says, oh, he missed it. Oh, he made it. We got a playoff on our hands. Akshay from 172. Oh, what the heck was that?
Did I hit the hosel?
Dude, what the heck was that?
Just in the middle of the green.
No, the cast was wrong. The tour cast screwed us.
The tracer.
Bro, the tracer was so wrong there. The tracer was going at the fucking grandstands.
Look, everyone in the comments.
And the ball was going straight at the green. Can he brush one more in for the biggest win of his career? Yes, he can. Right in the middle. And Akshay Bhatia picks up his 3rd win with a back 9, 31 at Bay Hill. What a battle that was on the back 9. He chased him down with a 31 on the back 9, including an incredible eagle. And there's the big come on from Akshay Bhatia. What a victory. Yeah, it was awesome. You saw there giving a big embrace to his guy, Joe Greiner, who's one of the more well-known caddies out there. Did a bunch of years with Max Homa. There was a little stint with Colin Morikawa. There was a victory last year with Justin Thomas. He was working for Jake Knapp toward the end of this year, and he left Jake Knapp's bag to go to Akshay's bag, which is a big decision.
You're a good caddy. I mean, to the point where you're choosing your bag, that means you're in a different echelon, right? 100%
means you're doing it right. So we I caught up with Akshay after the round. We talked about the caddy. We talked about Ashtray. We talked about the shot on 16. He called it a professional push. Here's our interview with Akshay Bhatia.
In the cardigan, does it fit?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Congratulations, dude. You turned it on big time on the back nine, 31 on the back. Did you have like a conversation with yourself before that? You were kind of hitting it all over the place, but you were keeping yourself in it with the putter. Well, what changed in the back nine?
Yeah, I mean, I came up pretty angry after I missed that putt on 9. Just a big mental mistake. And then I told Joe, I was like, we shot 4 under here yesterday on the back nine. Let's just like try and shoot 4 under again. Hit 3 great shots on 10, make the bomb on 11, got up and down on 12, and then 13. I learned from certain situations, at Pebble Beach where I would kind of gas some wedges, and I realized I don't need to do that. So again, that was perfect, perfect sand wedge there. And then when I saw Daniel hit it over the green, plug in the bunker, I'm like, okay, now you think about all the scenarios, but it was really cool to kind of keep the pedal down and hit some really sick shots.
So when I interviewed you in January of 2024, I asked you, what do you need to do to become the best player in the world? And you said putting. It's very simple, putting. You putted unbelievable this week. Have you ever putted that well in your life? And what does, rolling it like that do for your confidence throughout the bag?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the best weeks I've putted on. The greens are so tough. Not a lot of grass, but I figured out a good game plan, like how to figure that out. And then I figured out how much focus it takes. I'm such a good green reader with aim point, and I realized at Waste Management how much focus it takes, my attention to the golf ball, to the hole, certain things like that. I just figured it out on Tuesday or Wednesday, changed my routine up a little bit, and it brings a lot of confidence, everything else, because you feel like you can hit some okay shots, or you can maybe not hit a great chip, but you have that to kind of rely on.
Talk me through the shot on 16. Were you aiming that close to the flag? And the shot on 18, did you think that was going to cover?
16, no. I mean, it was professional push, Like, I was trying to hit it to 25 feet right of it. Pushed it, hit it really high. It was cutting. I was like, oh, this is great. I was like, go, go, go. And it landed, a couple feet short of the flag. That would have been a sick double eagle. But it was a sick eagle anyways. 18, I thought, when you have so much adrenaline, ball speed's going to jump crazy. So I hit it really solid. It was drawing. I thought it was going to be really, really good, actually. It landed in the fringe, I think, and just kind of trickled off. But, yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to go with the flag there again. But, again, golf's a crazy game. It's a sickening game. And, for that ball to stay up, it's a change of events for me.
I wanted to ask you about Joe's faith in you. I was reading a story one of my colleagues wrote. He made quite the decision to go to your bag this offseason. What did that, his faith in you, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really cool partnership, friendship. We grew up in the same town. We're both left-handed. I mean, there's so many coincidences when we spoke, and I really wanted him to work with me. Obviously, he went to Colin first, which I totally understood. Colin's a top 5-10 player in the world, and I'm this 23-year-old kid who has the potential to be great, but he hadn't been around me much. And so the belief he has in me, our vibes, I mean, there are so many great things I've learned from him. And I think my coach, him and I, we just work as a great partnership. We see it, we joke around, and it's funny, like most of my caddies I've had before have been very serious in preparation, and it's totally opposite with him. I mean, him and Sanders' caddy Kai is like literally joke around for 2.5 hours when we're playing a practice round. So it's been a definitely change of pace for me, but he's a man for sure.
last thing I have to ask from personal level, Tiger called you Ashtray in a TGL thing. I've been obsessed with it. Was that just a slip of the tongue, or did he kind of slip up his nickname for you there?
No, that's my nickname. You know, you can't argue with the GOAT. We were playing Augusta. It was my first year. I'm on the putting green, and Tiger comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, congrats! I won Valero the week before." And he's like, "I give all the guys nicknames. Your nickname's Ashtray. I've been thinking about that one for a while." And I start laughing. I'm shaking his hand, and I go, "Well, F you, it's a joke. Like, I don't know what I'm doing." I'm shaking Tiger's hand, and it's stuck ever since. So now, when we play TGL, he calls me Ash. And then that slipped out, and now everyone on tour, will call me that. So
I am obsessed with it. I think it's fantastic. Congratulations, dude. Winning in Arnie's place. It's a big deal. The cardigan on, it looks great.
Appreciate it.
Good luck the rest of the year.
Thanks, Dan. Dog of the week.
Yes, sir.
He has been dog of the week.
He has been.
He was the only person who asked to be dog of the week. He sent me a message, or I saw him. I think it was at the Tour Championship last year, and he was like, "Can I be dog of the week?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he was dog of the week. He's not dog of the week this week, but he did win the tournament.
But he is a dog, and he's a winner.
He is a dog. Do you know what my takeaway was from that interview? Besides me being vindicated for calling him Ashtray, focus on the putting green. You need to listen to that.
Yeah.
You just get up there and hit it.
Yeah, I do. I rely too much on my natural abilities.
Which is, I love you dearly. I don't know that your natural abilities aren't doing that hot.
I can't rely on
I'd like to see you break 85 at Brentwood Country Club one time.
Hey, I have done that actually. The first time we played, I shot 83, but it just hasn't gone well since.
Okay. When you get on the green, I want you to think about Ashtray. I want you to think, okay, this is going to take a little bit of focus.
Do you know what my biggest takeaway was from that?
What?
Is that he's a true content guy, like of a generation, because he's week to week optimizing. And I'm sure all the guys do this, but he's talking about, I noticed this at Pebble, so I changed something. I noticed this at Waste Management.
Content?
So, yeah, that's like what we do for a living. It's like, oh, that video did okay. Like last week, I'm going to tweak it. It just felt very like, kind of like
growth mindset.
Yeah.
Growth mindset. Yeah, no, it was good stuff. More from Bay Hill. So John Butchergrass, of all people, posted this video of Harris English's caddy taking a look into Scotty Scheffler's bag. He said, I knew they peaked, but I didn't realize tour caddies walked over and brazenly looked at what club their playing partner hit. They've both done it. This is actually not illegal. You can see it right here. He takes a very, 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 very obvious look and then looks back. It's not illegal. You're allowed to look. They can't police your eyes. But you're not allowed to ask. So just wanted to sort of clear that up a little bit. Some other things I wanted to highlight from Bay Hill. Ludwig Åberg. He had his first really good week of the year. I saw he was second in strokes gained tee to green, which is a big sign for a guy who's been struggling, and still has all the big tournaments ahead. We got our first kind of massive tournament this week. Whether it's a major or not, I'm not sure. It's not right now, but it could be. Colin Morikawa. I think this is since we had that talk at the WM Phoenix Open, since he came on the show. So right before that, his two starts on the year were a miscut and a tie for 54th. Since then, win, tied for 7th, solo 5th. Come on the show more often. Just a thought to you and to everybody else. Saw at the Gala, third top 10 in his last 6 starts after the injury. He had the injury last year, missed the FedEx playoffs, played the fall, played like ass in the fall. I think he was like 140 or something. So he's off to a really, really good start. Another really solid week and a really good Sunday. Minwoo Lee, cleaning up in the signature events so far this year. He finished tied for 2nd at Pebble, tied for 12th at Riviera, and then tied for 6th at Bay Hill. We had him as our guest on One Hole with this week. He's friends with Justin Bieber. I feel like you would like to be friends with Justin Bieber.
I would love to be friends with Justin Bieber.
That'd be
for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, that'd be a good guy to have in your Rolodex.
He's got a cool new brand out. Yeah, he's a golf guy.
Yeah, Minwoo said I can text him and he responds. And I said that's a phone number you gotta guard.
There's a lot of unread text on that phone.
You gotta guard that phone number like Fort Knox. Like that's not a phone number you want slipping out. Jordan Spieth finished tied for 11th. We were talking about this on the watch along. There's just always a screenshot every week with Jordan Spieth. This week it was he had half the gallery looking for his golf ball. Whether it's one of those or it's a screenshot of Tourcast, or both.
But Make It Sports Count gets a lot out of Jordan Spieth.
He's a screenshot guy. There's always a screenshot. I'd love to see him play a tournament without a screenshot. I think his good is good enough, but there's still
he's gonna win.
He's right now he's a bit of a ratchet golfer. Like it's a ratchet, when you go out with one of your friends who's ratchet, they might have they're going to, maybe they pour like a gin and tonic on their head and it's really funny, but then they get into like a fight with the bouncer and it's a lot less funny.
It's less funny.
It's like, we just want to level things out a little bit, a little bit of a level out. Billy Horschel, tied for 13th. He was playing on a sponsor invite, so always good to convert a sponsor invite into a lot of points and a lot of money. Siwoo Kim kept up his really solid start to the season with a tied for 13th. People on the watch long were talking about his mustache. I think it was more of a lack of shaving.
We looked it up, yeah.
Didn't seem like a
lack of growth under here.
Yeah. It was more a lack of than an active mustache. Victor Hovland also finished tied for 13th. He's been kind of all over the place in swing hell. Scotty Scheffler tied for 24th. He played the 18th hole in 5 over par for the week. He doubled it twice.
Retire.
That was his worst finish since a tie for 33rd at the 2024 BMW. So that's 2 straight finishes outside the top 10, which means he should probably just hang him up. I did make a joke that I was not going to get a haircut until Scotty finished outside the top 10 when he had like 18 in a row. I would have got a haircut right away. I actually would have gotten a haircut faster than I actually got a haircut. Yeah, I would have gotten 2 haircuts. Quick shout out to Daniel Bennett, the only amateur in the field. He got in through the Palmer Cup exemption. His peers, when they play the Palmer Cup, which is the best college players from America, international every year, the winning team gets to nominate one player for the exemption. He made the cut, finished high for 47th.
That's
so
cool.
Pretty impressive stuff there for the University of Texas golfer. From the not so fun department, 49th for Tommy Fleetwood. 276s in this tournament, so not great. JJ Spawn also missed the cut, +3. Really slow start to the year. So he's got T40, miscut, T45, miscut. Year after the U.S. Open, not going so hot so far. Ben Griffin missed the cut, shot 3 over. Also does not have a top 15 finish in his 6 starts on the year. Shane Lowry, 3 over, missed the cut after that heartbreak. Maybe to be expected, a little bit of an emotional hangover. Joel Damon also, he just squeaked into the field. He shot 3 over, missed the cut as well. Sung J M is making his first start back with Willie Wilcox. I just saw a video that Willie hit it to 4 feet on 17 because, of course, he did. That guy doesn't need to warm up. He's gifted. I was talking about this with some guys I was playing with. His golf swing is just unbelievably good. He has this God-given ability to get out. Like, the amount of space that he creates in his golf swing is incredible. Sungjae shot 4 over his first week back. Keegan Bradley shot 5 over, missed the cut. Really slow start to the year I always call him Captain Keegan. I still kind of call him Captain Keegan, but we're going to go back to Keegan Bradley.
Yeah.
And then Justin Rose, 6 over par, missed the cut. I got hammered when I didn't put him in my top 10 of the Dankings. It's because he's not consistent enough. He has his weeks. Since the win, he's gone T37, and then he missed the cut in both of the signature events after that. He missed the cut at Riv, and he missed the cut at Bay Hill, and those are kind of hard cuts to miss.
Those are pretty surprising, though. He was really trending into that win, and you think, like, well, there's no stopping. He's streaking.
Yeah, I
did some long-distance travel in between.
He will go back to
yeah,
he's going back to London and back, and that's when I've talked to him, and he said, I don't think that I'm going to be able to sustain this level. Maybe I'll have sort of my weeks, my on weeks. One of the things that he talked about was having to fly to the UK, and I'm a delicate flower, I know that, but when I went to Dubai, I was off for about 3 weeks after, and that was one trip, so I couldn't even imagine trying to perform athletically at
Riviera.
At a world-class level, dealing with jet lag and dealing with getting that travel out of your legs. Justin Thomas shot 14 over par in his first week back. Tough week to come back. Bay Hill is, one of the harder courses out there. And I was talking a little bit about the golf course and the low scores. Didn't really bother me this weekend. It had the fire. The greens were so firm. There were bogeys and double bogeys out there all over the place.
What was the finish at the final 16?
15 under.
15. So that's maybe below average over the past 10
and I
years.
thought it was, I think we think of Bay Hill as a bunch of like single digit under par winning scores, but I asked you to pull up the average, and Rory shot 18 under there before.
A lot of 10s.
There's a lot of 10s, a lot of 12s. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary, and I thought the golf course played really well. And when you get some guys complaining, like Scotty said, the greens were completely dead
on Friday.
JT said, at least I don't have to putt these greens after, basically. And Akshay said in our interview there weren't a lot of grass on them. When the players complain, that's a good sign.
Yeah, we like that.
It's a good sign for us at home. But Bay Hill was not the only PGA Tour event this week. There was the Puerto Rico Open, and Blades Brown, 18-year-old Blades Brown, had the solo lead at 16 under. And we actually cooked up the graphic. He would have been the youngest winner on the PGA Tour since 1931.
Whoa.
And the second youngest ever. He would have been a full year younger than Jordan Spieth was when Jordan Spieth won his first at the 2013 John Deere.
Wow.
Unfortunately, golf tournaments last 72 holes, even the live ones now.
Yeah.
And he made a triple bogey on 13. but he did birdie 18 for a solo third, so that's a lot of points. Blades is now kind of in the position where he's trying to accumulate non-member points so he can get his PGA Tour card through non-member points. I think he ended up finishing, when he shot 50 or almost shot 59 and he had a chance to win the American Express plate in the final group that Scotty won. I think he ended up finishing like 18th or 20th, so it wasn't a super high finish, but that plus the third, and I'm sure he's close to getting the sort of like if you get enough points, you can get like they take away your restriction on sponsor invites, so he's going to keep getting sponsor invites.
Oh yeah, especially the way he is in interviews. Like they're going to want him on the mic.
Yeah, I saw you put something in the group. You like the way he talks in interviews.
Yeah, he's well beyond his years in terms of like public speaking.
Yeah,
it's cool.
But the guy who got the win, Ricky Castillo. And there's been a lot of talk about that pronunciation. We are going to clear it up. He's a Florida Gator. Helped them win the 2023 NCAA National Championship. Shout out to my guy, JC Deacon. Love that Florida golf team. They're just awesome. Jack Turner, Ian Gilligan is doing well on the Korn Ferry Tour now. Luke Poulter. Just a good squad. And my man, Ben Boscovich, caught up with him after the round. Let's watch our interview.
Hey, Ricky. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Really excited for you. Can you talk a little bit about when somebody wins their first PGA Tour tournament, we talk about that feeling of like your dream coming true. Can you walk me through like when that moment was hitting you? We always like project that moment onto somebody. I'm wondering if you can like describe what that actually, when it happens to you in real life, what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. It really hit me when I finally hit my birdie putt on 18. It went up to really close, and yeah, it's just a surreal feeling just knowing that, that's all you have left to be a PGA Tour winner. And I mean, just no feeling like it for sure. It's awesome.
How did the moment differ in your mind than like the dreams all these years? Like you say you're looking at a short putt to finish it off. Like what's going through your mind? Are you thinking about the putt, or how do you manage that like back and forth?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I felt like it's just like, it's just kind of where I always wanted to be. I've always wanted to have a chance to win, and just, I was just kind of grateful to be in that position, and I was able to be in that position to end up winning and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. I just feel like I didn't want to take it for granted and really wanted to, soak it in and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to remind yourself to smell the roses, right, when it's like all happening.
Exactly, yeah.
I have a question for you about your name. Now, Dan and I are always talking about how our inclination is to pronounce it Castillo, but on the broadcast we hear Castillo. Was it ever Castillo? Did it change to Castillo, or is it just like the unique way to pronounce it?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I thought it was Castillo, and then when I started getting older, my grandma wanted people to know that we were Filipino. So in the Filipino pronunciation is actually, it's different. It's Castillo. I don't know why. That's what my grandma told me, and that's what she told my dad. And that was kind of her last wish. She wanted to make sure that, when we are out here and they say our names, that they say our names correctly and stuff like that. So they do it right. Yeah. I've always just never really understood, but that's kind of how it is. Yeah. It's funny.
Wow, that is a wonderful story. You are certainly out here now, so Castillo will be shouted from the rooftops. So an 18-year-old is playing in a PGA Tour tournament and competing. You're playing against him. What was your game like at 18? And can you put that in perspective for you're not that much older than him, but it wasn't that long ago you were at his age.
Yeah, I mean, I've played with Blades before, and he is a extremely really a really good player. I mean, he's got a lot of talent and has a lot of speed, and I mean, I was nowhere near as good as he was at 18 years old. I mean, to be leading a PGA Tour event, that's impressive. I mean, he's a really, really good player and a really, really good person too. He's so down to earth and so humble. He's a really good kid for sure.
I have one last question for you because I'm a big style guy. I love your necklace. I'm curious how long you've been wearing it. What's the story behind it? Like, how did that become part of your personal style? I'm a big fan.
Yeah, so my grandma and my grandparents are from Hawaii, so they would go to Hawaii, once a month or something like that. And one time that she came back and brought me a puka shell necklace when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and I would always wear it. And then when she passed, I kind of made it like kind of my thing where I just never wanted to take it off and just always have it on to remember her. And I even wear purple on the final day, and always with, stuff like that, just because it reminds me of her.
That's wonderful. Well, big day for you, big day for your family. And I'm sure your grandma is looking down upon you for a lot of reasons today, but I'm sure she's proud of you, and congratulations, Ricky.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Great job.
Thanks.
You got brutally neck-mogged
Neck mog.
by the
He's
Puerto
frame
Rico
mogging me,
player.
man.
You got brutally frame-mogged.
I thought I had a nice prominent neck, man. Ricky.
That guy's neck was just, it was one-way traffic.
And
in
the
that,
puka
in
shells,
that
too.
frame.
I
Yeah, the
mean,
puka shells might elongate it a little bit.
It's tough.
But you got neck-mogged. It's okay. It happens.
It happens.
But I thought, listen, you did a...
It was his day, not
That
mine.
was your best winter interview yet.
Thanks.
So that was really good stuff. We're going to hop into the Knockaround, presented by Knockaround. This whole show is presented by Knockaround. Dan on Golf, presented by Knockaround. We're having dinner with them this week. I'm very excited about it.
Tomorrow night.
Jeff and Kyle and the whole squad. We got a promo code for you guys. Look at how good these sunglasses look. I'm taking these with me on the road. These are the Mary Janes. Last chance with Mary Jane. One more time to kill the pain. I love that song. I love these sunglasses. A little tortoiseshell action. Guys, stop spending stupid money on sunglasses. It's just stupid. I mean, these sunglasses are the same quality, if not better. I'm going to say they're better quality than sunglasses that cost 5, 10 times as much. And we have a promo code for you guys. So if you go to knockaround.com/golf, you can look at all of the beautiful Knockaround glasses that are made specifically for golf. Joel Damon wears these glasses. He's in the Players Championship. And if you use promo code DanOnGolf20, you get 20% off your order. So I am not you, as you know. But if I was you, what I would do is I'd go to knockaround.com/golf. I'd look at the golf sunglasses. I'd make a nice little cart for myself. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe the Mary Janes, one last time to kill the pain.
Maybe some panoramas.
Maybe some panoramas. That's what Ben's wearing. That's kind of our go-to here, but I'm changing them up with the Mary Janes. And I would use that code. You get 20% off. You'll be stunned at how much you get relative to par. You know?
Relative to par. Beautiful.
We're going to start with the Players Championship. It's this week. We're going to have a big Players preview. 2 players that I think will be added to the field. So this is, they made this rule with Brooks Koepka. So they said that Brooks coming back was not going to limit opportunities for other players. So here was a note on the field from the PGA Tour Communications. With Brooks Koepka competing in the Players Championship, the field is currently 121 players. To round out threesomes, the field will be officially expanded to 123 on Monday at noon Eastern, which just happened, with the first 2 alternates at that time being added to the field. So Brooks, for the people.
For the people.
There's 2 guys who are getting to play in, maybe a major championship, and it's because of Brooks Koepka. Rory McIlroy, all signs point to him that he will be okay. He will be all right to play, but he withdrew from the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. Here's a statement from Rory McIlroy. While warming up in the gym this morning, this was on Saturday morning, I felt a small twinge. That's a word you don't see.
Yeah.
That's a word that's very much tied to back injuries. It's like when they say a good player in his own right, they're talking about a caddy on a PGA Tour. You don't see the word twinge very often. I felt a small twinge in my back. As I started hitting balls on the range before the round, it worsened and developed into muscle spasms in my lower back. Unfortunately, I'm not able to continue and have to withdraw. I was excited to compete this weekend. I wish the Arnold Palmer Invitational a great finish and look forward to being back next year. The stat from this that really surprised me, that's only his 2nd withdrawal in his entire career.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
You would think when he was younger, maybe he left when he was sick or something, or it was pissed or before he knew.
I think, and one of the things I always respected the most about Roger Federer, for a long time he had never withdrawn from a match. I don't know if he made it to the end of his career, his back started acting up, he got old, but I think that there's honor in that. If you start, you finish.
I think the message is, look how much the Players Championship means to Rory.
That's right. And not just him, Jake Knapp. So, Jake Knapp withdrew from this event with a small twinge, probably a twinge.
Double twinge.
Definitely a twinge. And I think it was because he didn't want to jeopardize his season. Also, back injuries, I had one in October of 2024, and I tried to play through it. I did a disc, L5S1, all the way down in my back, like lumbar spine, almost into my butt. And I had a golf trip planned to New York with 8 guys, and we were playing all of these courses. And I remember asking the doctor, is this going to make it worse? He said, yeah. Still did it, and I couldn't play golf for 3 months. I remember when I first joined Pro
you
Shop,
took 6 weeks off?
I think I took like 9 or 10 weeks off. So you don't want to mess with back injuries. More Players Championship news. I had this come across my desk this morning, was able to break this news. Joel and Gino reunited just for 1 week. The boys are back together. So Joel has not really hired a full-time caddy since. He's had John Rehorn on the bag. He's had his coach, Rob, on the bag for a little while throughout this sort of fall into the beginning of this season. Gino is caddying full-time for Isaiah Salinda, but Isaiah Salinda did not qualify for the Players Championship, and so Joel and Gino are back together for 1 week only.
I wonder if absence makes the heart grow fonder, and they're going to have some magic this week.
You think so?
No pressure, pressure's off.
Yeah.
Gino's not trying to keep his job. Joel's happy to be there. Let's have some fun at this great tournament, and Maybe it's top 5. It's top 10.
I'm really looking forward to watching them. I guess tennis. So I went to the tennis this past weekend. Tennis tournaments are so fucking hot. I couldn't believe how hot they are.
Yeah, you're cooking.
And it wasn't even hot in the desert. It was like 75 degrees in the desert, which is a nice day in the desert. It's like I think it's gonna be like 97 this next weekend. There's no wind. You're sitting in a bowl, and the heat just reflects off the court and the bleachers. I was sweating my ass off. So I can understand why the tennis players, when you lose a tennis match, you're not just mad, you're hot. You're physically hot. You're schwitzing.
That's why they lay on the ground after they win.
Yeah, you're schwitzing, as my grandmother would say. I guess they have a rage room. So, guys break rackets, and it's not a good look, right? Like when a guy breaks a club on the golf course, you kind of go, that's not great. When guys break rackets, the crowd kind of groans. Here's from Front Office Sports. The rage room is the hottest place in tennis. Players want to destroy things sometimes. They also want privacy. Wyndham Clark, if there was a rage room at Oakmont, he wouldn't have had to desecrate the locker.
They ought to travel with him with a drive box, like a
but
RV.
not just for him, for everybody. You know how they have the player recovery room?
Yeah.
Imagine if you had the rage room right next to the player recovery room. So then you go in there and you break some shit, and then you meditate in a sauna.
You build it all up. We're in your scorer's tent. You let it all get there, and then they release you to the rage room afterwards.
Yeah, this just came across my desk, so we don't have a graphic for this. But Manners, Andy Murray, famous tennis player, investing in Manners Golf, our official apparel partner.
Big front page news in the UK today.
Of Dan on Golf. Yeah, it was funny. JoJo posted a screenshot. JoJo's one of the head guys at Manners. It was like, oil prices surge as war rages in Middle East, and then in the corner it was like, Murray invests in golf brand. Funny stuff.
I have another non-graphic news. Did you announce the 2 players that they let in? It is Patton Kizzire and Seamus Power.
Okay, well, Patton Kizzire and Seamus Power, you owe Brooksy, maybe a nice bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Over on the DP World Tour, Dan Bradbury won, also a broomsticker, double broomstick. Uh-oh. I also learned this week, I read the rule about the broomstick, and the rule's even worse than I thought it was.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the way the rule is written right now, it's impossible to enforce. I'm going to read what the actual rule says. And a PGA Tour player sent this to me because he was like, this is what the problem is, the rule. If the player's club, gripping hand, or forearm merely touches his or her body or clothing during the stroke without being held against the body, there is no breach of this rule. What the fuck does that mean?
Say if you graze your body or touch yourself or graze your shirt, it's okay.
Yeah, but you can say I'm just grazing. It's not.
It just grazed. I didn't hold it there. Yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah. So Dan Bradbury won. Casey Jarvis, he was going for a three-peat. He was going for 3 wins in a row. He finished tied for 2nd. He will be on the PGA Tour next year. So will a guy called Patrick Reed. He finished tied for 10th. I also wanted to give a shout out to Alex Fitzpatrick, Matt's younger brother. He's grinding over there in Europe. Finished tied for 6th. The Corn Ferry Tour. The Astara Chile tournament was won by Doc Redman. Doc Redman, that name will be familiar to golf fans. He was a USAM winner, won the United States Amateur at Riviera. He's got $5.3 million in earnings on the PGA Tour and 125 starts, but he had to go down, and looks like he's on his way to coming back up. A little more from that KFT tournament. Alistair Doherty finished tied for 18th, so a very solid backup. Our guys, James Nicholas, 64 the first round, 77 the second round, and missed the cut by 1. So that is tough. The Blue Bay LPGA was won by Min Hyang Lee. I saw the American Austin Kim finish tied for 3rd. She's having a very good start to the season. And then our last winner is also, drum roll please, our dog of the week.
That's right.
Our dog of the week is John Rahm Rodriguez. Rahm had a little bit of a winning problem. He hadn't won a tournament since Live Chicago in September of 2024, despite being the season-long champion in 2025 and winning Clutch Player of the Year. He had not won, and it was becoming a bit of a thing. He was in the final group with Anthony Kim and Bryson DeChambeau in Adelaide. Anthony Kim started 5 back and beat him by 8, so it was a dusting. Not this time. He closed it like a boss. Ben, you stayed up to watch this, and you were very impressed by what you saw.
Yeah, I got home at the perfect time to catch the end, and I watched Rahm's last 6 or 7 holes, and he looked like vintage 2021 John Rahm. Couldn't miss a fairway, all over the green. The putts were rolling in, with authority. It was just the kind of John Rahm I've missed watching, and I'm sure he's, like you said, he's top 10ing all the time over there. He's playing like crazy, but he hadn't won.
Yeah.
This felt like the Rahm that I've missed watching.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that. He also got a bunch of the live guys out of the Middle East. So this was almost a bit of an Argo situation. A lot of live guys live over there, and Dubai is warm. There's no taxes, but they couldn't get out. They just couldn't get to Hong Kong for the tournament. They ended up having to go to Oman, and he did them a real solid. We have Thomas Dietrich talking about this.
I got to pay that plane back, so I better play well to hopefully be able to pay back. But no, that was incredibly generous from John. You know, with all the uncertainty, no, that was incredible of John to put on that plane. And yeah, he seems like he's always there on top of the leaderboard. So you know that if you're playing well, you're always going to have to fight with John anyway. So.
And this comes after, you know, we talked a lot on the show last week. He's standing on business with the DP World Tour. He's not going to pay those fines if they have to tell him where he's going to play. He's just not going to do it. And I'm not saying I agree with his stance, but it's certainly a dog mentality. So our dog of the week is Jon Rahm. Finally got that win, got the boys out of the Middle East, a little bit of an Argo situation, and he's standing on business. That's our dog of the week. A few more nuggets from the live event. Thomas Dietrich finished solo second, and Thomas Pieters finished solo third. So there's a Belgian flair on top of the leaderboard. Anthony Kim finished tied for 31st in his first start after that incredible win in Adelaide. All right, it's time for an official statement. Andy, cue the lights. It's Players' Championship week, and I got to tell you something. I don't know if it's a major. It's technically not a major right now, but that's sort of secondary. It's a better golf tournament for me than the PGA Championship. In my personal ranking of golf tournaments, it's fourth. Doesn't mean it's a major, but it's fourth. I think part of this is because the course is iconic. They return to it every year. We know it. It's got, according to Ludwig Oberg and according to me as well, the best 3-hole finishing stretch of any golf course. And it has an identity. And I agree with what Rory McIlroy said a couple weeks ago. Let's roll Rory's clip.
It's the players. Like, it doesn't need to be anything else. Like, I would say it's got more of an identity than the PGA Championship does at the minute. You know, so like from an identity standpoint, I think the players has got it nailed. It is an amazing tournament in its own right, and I don't think it being classified a major or not a major makes it any more, any less. You know, I'm still very proud to have won that tournament twice, and as I'm sure all the other champions are, and I don't think it stands on its own without the label, I guess.
Completely agree. It's the course, it's the coverage, it's 17, having an iconic hole like that. It's an incredible, incredible tournament on site. If you've been there, it's a party. The stadium design of the holes, like you can see everything because the right and the left side are kind of risen. It being the first huge tournament of the year, like whether it's a major or not, that whole conversation almost detracts from what an incredible golf tournament it is. I am so excited for this week. The last 6 winners of this tournament: Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Cam Smith, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy. We're lucky to have this tournament in our lives, and I can't fucking wait to get down there. That is my official statement on the Players' Championship. Next one we have segment for you guys is the World Dankings, and this is some real sicko shit. Oh, yeah. The Dankings this week, some real sicko shit. We are going to be ranking the best post-swing mannerisms. So this is stuff, you know, I'm able to identify golfers just by their silhouettes because you've been watching so much. I think you guys are too. If you're watching this, you're likely a golf sicko. If the category is a little bit, you know, hard to fathom in your head, it's going to make sense as soon as we get into the list. So let's jump in. Number 10 is Victor Hovland's overhand. Number 10 is Victor Hovland's overhead 2-hand recoil.
Tomahawk.
It's a tomahawk. After he swings, he brings the club back over his head and then holds it right there and then brings it back into his hip. It's so distinct. He does it every time. He does it with the driver. He does it with the wedges. He's not a big hold to finish guy. And you know what? I kind of appreciate that.
I wonder what kind of angler he is. He's probably a good fisherman.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got the forearm strength. He's got huge forearms, and I wonder if those forearms are from, you know, stopping the club with that recoil halfway every single time. Our next one, Bryson DeChambeau, just falling over because he swung so damn hard. It's you know, only Bryson does this, where he's just, you know, he's got to kind of brace his swing with that foot. There's so much pressure going left. He's given it absolutely everything that he has, and also not a stick to finish guy. So, you know, when Tiger would always say that his dad told him, you know, you can swing as hard as you want as long as you stick to finish. Well, equipment's gotten a lot better, so you can fucking rip it. Number 8, Jason Day, resting the club lazily down his left leg. Now, we talked about this when I did the on the bag for him. Most guys, you know, they hold their finish or they recoil or they twirl the club. He just kind of puts the club down his leg very lazily. If you watch Jason Day, you will notice it. Number 7, Abraham Answer. Not a lot of left-hand picker-uppers out there. He picks up the tee every single time with his left hand. Feels very old school. Even when he twirls and puts it in his right hand, He then puts it back into his left hand into his right hand so that he can pick up the tee with his left hand. Abraham Ancer is a left-hand tee picker-upper.
That is sick.
You didn't notice that, did you?
I didn't, no.
Number 6, the Justin Thomas club twirl. Justin Thomas is one of the best club twirlers out there. You know what I like about Justin Thomas is he only does it after a really, really good shot. When Justin Thomas twirls the club, he did it in the PGA Championship when he hit that drive onto the green. There he was at the Players. After realizing it was good, he does the club twirl. If JT twirls the club, you know you're going to be looking at a good one. The same cannot be said for number 5. Jordan Spieth likes the club twirl after horrendous shots. Usually there's a one-to-one relationship between Jordan Spieth. Usually there's a one-to-one relationship between a guy twirling the club and it being a good shot. Not so with Jordan Spieth. A lot of times he twirls the club and then looks and hopes that it doesn't go out of bounds, which you just don't see very often. Here it is again. Look, club twirl. And yeah, it's not very good. He's got to watch it land. Number 4, Keegan Lean. The Keegan Lean. Kind of similar to the Victor Hovland situation. He hits a shot and then he leans left. There it is. Watch the next one. Same exact thing. Hits the shot, leans left. Happens every time.
That's very Arnie-esque.
Number 3, this only happens on the driving range, so this is some real sicko shit. Adam Scott, when he's hitting irons on the range, he goes behind his back after he hits every shot. Let's take a look at this. Look at behind the back. So stylish.
Did he even know that he was doing that?
He didn't even know he was doing it. Just goes behind the back. The guy is the most stylish person out there. Number 2, the Hideki, the one-arm finish, or the rested on your shoulder. You think it's going to be a horrible shot, and it goes to 2 inches. Look, this is down the stretch of the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. You think this ball is going to plug in the front bunker, and it literally almost goes in the
almost
hole.
Went in.
And that's one of the things that is permeated into like recreational golf. You do a one-arm finish and it goes down the fairway. Everyone says that's a Hideki. Number 1 should be no surprise. The Scotty Shuffle. The number 1 player in the world looks like he's going to tear every ligament in his ankle every time he hits a driver. When you look at the close-up, it's unbelievable at how much movement there is. And look at that.
Is both his feet off the ground at some point?
Bro, the other thing is it's different every single time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he'll even do a full step to the left.
Right.
So that is a sicko-ass version of the World Dankings ranking post-swing mannerisms. No Tiger in this because this is current players. The Tiger Club Twirl, Tiger would win every one of these Dankings if we included Tiger.
We keep him out of most things.
We keep him out of most Dankings because he's a little bit of a trump card. All right, we're going to move into quarter season grades. It does feel like this season is sort of a quarter of the way through. We've had 3 signature events. We had Pebble, we had Riviera, we had Bay Hill. It's still before major season, still before the players, but I think it's a good time to sort of take stock at where guys are in the season. We're going to start with Scotty Scheffler. I'm giving him a B+, or as my Spanish teacher would say, un B+. It might be harsh, it might sound harsh, but this is the burden of expectations. When you're the best player in the world, this is what we expect. So his 5 results so far: win, T3, T4, but the last 2 weeks have been tied for 12th and tied for 24th. That brings it down from an AA- to a B+. That's the reality of being, on the best run since Tiger Woods. If you have a couple sort of meh weeks in a row, you go down to a B+. And these rankings they're like player specific, right? If someone who's a rookie had those results, you'd say incredible. We're ranking these guys based on what we expect from them.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, I'm giving a B. Also a little bit harsh. His results so far: T14, T3, T33, T14, T2, and a withdrawal. The game seems to be there, but there have been a couple disappointing finishes, and the back injury is a bit of a concern. So I'm giving Rory a solid B. A B is just, there's been a lot of grade inflation over the years.
Yeah.
Participation trophy generation. Not here. I'm giving Rory a B. Jon Rahm, I'm giving an A.
Yeah.
So you said he's been top 10ing. Not just that. He finished second, and first in his first 3 live events.
Okay.
I've had him in the Dankings as my number 3 player. He'd probably be number 2 right now, behind only Scotty. The only reason that this is not an A+ is the performance in Adelaide. He got absolutely dusted by Anthony Kim. That was hard for me to see past. Speaking of Anthony Kim, he gets an A+.
Yeah.
I don't care what he does the rest of the year. He gave us one of the great moments in recent sports history. From where he was self-proclaimed, he was hot garbage when he first started playing on LIV, a full decade away from the game. And we're not just talking about away from professional golf. We're talking about like away from golf in general. To win in LIV, to beat Bryson, to beat Jon Rahm, he gets an A+. Jake Knapp gets an A. His 5 finishes so far this year: tied for 11th, tied for 5th, solo 8th, tied for 8th, and 6th. He had to withdraw from Bay Hill, but it was precautionary. The thing about Jake is I really wanted to sustain it this year. We've known for a while that his good is top 10 in the world level. but he hasn't been as consistent as the other guys who are up there, every single week. I want to see him sustain it this year. Ludwig Åberg gets a C+, and it would have been a lot lower if not for the T3 at Bay Hill, because before that, his results were a withdrawal, a miscut, a tied for 37th out of like 72 players or whatever it was at Pebble, and a tie for 20th at Riv. He really hasn't been the same player the last 12 months after he won that Genesis at Torrey. We expected him to maybe emerge as the challenger to Scotty Scheffler. It hasn't quite happened, but he seems to be on the up.
He might have the greatest margin of expectations and reality of like what we expected from him over the past few years and where he showed up, unfortunately.
100%, but it was a good week last week. Akshay Bhatia gets an A. So there were back-to-back miscuts to start the year, but again, he's young and he doesn't have the expectations, or at least we don't have the expectations on him that we do on a Scotty or on a Rory, but he finished tied for 3rd at Waste Management, tied for 6th at Pebble. He had a chance to win that tournament, tied for 16th at Riv, and then a huge win in a signature event. He is 2nd in the FedEx Cup. That's as high as he's ever been. Minwoo Lee gets an A-. Also kind of a mess start to the year, tied for 38th, tied for 28th. But since then, tied for 2nd at Pebble, tied for 12th at Riviera, and tied for 6th at Bay Hill. He's cleaning up in the signature events. The next step for Minwoo is to contend in a major. Yeah. He has not been a great major championship golfer in his young career. Patrick Reed gets an A. So he's made a big decision, obviously, to come back on tour and play on the DP World Tour. And that came after a big win in Dubai against a very, very good field. And then after that, it was tied for 2nd in Bahrain, then a win in Qatar. Just reading those countries out now is crazy.
Yeah.
Thank goodness the DP World Tour went there when they did. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dubai, Bahrain, Qatar, those places, you don't want to be in those places right now. Then it went down to South Africa, tied for 29th in South Africa, and then a tie for 10th this past week. I think he already has enough points to get his full status back. I want to see him on the President's Cup team. I really do.
Big time.
Xander Schauffele, C+. We talked about this on the watch along yesterday. Kind of feels like he's gone through the motions a little bit. It's just, it hasn't really been there. His results so far, miscut, which knocked off his streak. He had the highest streak on tour. I think it was like 72 in a row. Tie for 41st, tie for 19th, tie for 7th at Riv, and then tie for 24th at Bay Hill. I still think he'll be a factor come major time, but maybe it's just having the baby. But he just seems like he's kind of stuck in neutral.
That's another expectations one, because those numbers aren't that bad, those finishes.
No, they're not.
Just for him, we expect.
He's Xander Schauffele. He won 2 majors in 2024. Yeah. Bryson DeChambeau gets a C. Tied for 17th in Riyadh, tied for 3rd in Adelaide, and tied for 24th in Hong Kong. Again, not horrible, but again, there's only 50-something players in the live events, and you expect him to be up there every week. We just haven't heard much from him recently. And he, too, in Adelaide, lost to Anthony Kim by 11 shots that day. Colin Morikawa gets an A-. And this season so far has been a tale of before dog and after dog.
Yeah.
Before dog, miscut, tied for 54th. After dog, win, tied for 7th, solo 5th. So, yeah.
That's a big jump from like a C+ probably to an A- post dog.
100% post dog. It's a dog bunt. Joaquin Niemann gets a D. Tied for 22nd, tied for 12th, tied for 41st so far on live. He was winning. He won 5 times on live last year. Got into a bunch of majors because of how good his play was. Now they have world ranking points. So if he had that season last year, he'd probably be like in the top 20, top 15. He will not be getting major invites with that level of play. So tough year so far for Waco. Brooks Koepka gets a C+. First start back at the Farmers, he made the cut, tie for 56th. Then he missed the cut at WM Phoenix Open. He tied for 9th at the Cognizant and putted much better. So he seems to be on the up, kind of similar to Ludwig Åberg. But he said it himself: if I'm just playing to make cuts, I'm losing. So Brooks is a win or nothing kind of guy. Sahith Theegala gets an A. Coming off an injury and a really, really bad fall. He's now got 3 top 10s in his last 6 starts, a great bounce back, flying high in the FedEx Cup, moving up world rankings, probably going to get into the majors with his play. Really good stuff from Sahith. Victor Hovland gets a C+. He seems to be in swing purgatory. Anytime you bring out the floaties, you're probably going to go down a rank. He did finish tied for 10th at the WM Phoenix Open, but then tied for 58th at Pebble out of like 80 players. Tied for 41st at Genesis out of 72. There was a tie for 13th this week, which is a little bit better. He's also gotten slower off the tee, which is very, very rare. He's bouncing between swing coaches, as he always does. So Victor kind of stuck in neutral as well. And then our last one, tied for the worst grade, JJ Spawn gets a D. So JJ Spawn started the year with a T40 at the Sony, and then he missed the cut at the Farmers. He finished tied for 45th at Pebble, where there's no cut. Then he missed the cut at both the Genesis and Bay Hill. So he's really only made 1 cut in 5 starts.
He withdrew from a tournament this year too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he withdrew. You're right.
Was
I
it
think
Pebble?
he withdrew from Phoenix.
Yeah,
he withdrew from
that's right.
Phoenix. So, the year after a major, your life changes. There's a lot more demands on your time. You're getting into these bigger groups. There's more expectations, and Spawn has not had a good year so far. We're moving into Give Me a Winner. This is kind of our players preview segment. We hit last week on Ricky Fowler.
Yeah.
Finishing in the top 20. I think he finished in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. So we're up 2.54 units in 2026 with a 10% return on investment and a profit of $254 on $100 bets. Again, we don't unit shame. If your units are lower, that's fine, but you'd be up. So stick with us, and we're going to hit a big winner soon. Rick joining us live on the line. And I want to, before we do that, I got to introduce something. I'm going to go drum roll right here. We've got a new sponsor on the show.
That's right.
No Vig. It's a sports-only exchange. So this is peer-to-peer. So this is the digitization, we're calling it, of guys sitting on the couch saying, hey, you think he's going to make a par on this hole?
Yeah.
You can make picks, but there's no house. There's no Vig. So it's not a rig system against you. Your pick only becomes official if someone takes the other side. So it is you betting against someone else on something that you think is going to happen. That being said, the language is still the same. You still see the odds like you would see other places, but there's no house taking 10%. It's not a rigged game against you. So I'm really excited to welcome No Vig to the show. And Rick Gehman, we are going to run through a bunch of different picks that you have for us for the Players Championship. Rick, talk to me, buddy.
What's up, fellas?
How are you?
Good to see you guys.
Colin was
I'm
close.
excited to see you down here.
You had Colin. Colin was in the mix.
I'm thrilled with the handicapping of that. I mean, he was in the mix throughout the entire tournament. He had a bunch of opportunities on Sunday. It didn't fall, but yeah, he has played great golf. If you wanted to back him up again this week, I think he's going to be in contention again. This is very, very sustainable what he's doing.
All right, so run us through some of your picks for the Players Championship.
All right, well, let's just get out of the gate here with a winner. And I just want to get on the record that I do not care at all about Rory McIlroy's WD last week. I am ready. I am ready for him to defend his title. This is a guy who is going to gain you a stroke off the tee every single round. His iron play has been much better in 2026. I think he's more of a complete player here in 2026 than he's been in quite some time. A lot of different trajectories, a lot of different good things that on both the stat sheet and the eye test. So I'm really targeting. I mean, I would go as short as like 8-1 on Rory McIlroy. There might be some markets out there where you could find a partner, find a buddy where you could get better odds than that. But I'm comfortable down to 8-1 on Rory.
All right, our next pick.
A little bit longer. Still a winner, though, is Cam Young. So this is a guy who, ever since he started playing the draw, Dan, I feel like you and I have talked about this a lot. It's incredible. He's picked up 7 strokes off the tee last week. He was second in distance. He was first in accuracy, which is an unbelievable combination. He was top 20 on approach play. He was top 20 with the putter. I mean, this is a golf course that is going to reward you so much for being long and straight. It just is. And I think this place sets up really well for him. I'm targeting Cameron Young at about 30-1 would be a pretty good number for him.
You think he's got the stones to win this tournament?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so, but I guess we'll find out. I really don't know. It's big. Yeah, listen, that's what I'm paying for. If I knew he had the stones, he'd be like 15-1. I don't know if he has the stones, so 30 is probably a better number.
All right, our next pick.
Victor Hovland to finish inside the top 5. We talked about heard you guys talk about how it's kind of brewing underneath the surface a little bit right now. His approach play is fantastic. The putter is Jekyll and Hyde, which I think is okay, right? If he putts well, he's going to be inside the top 10. We've got to figure out this driver. I know he's been tinkering with a couple of different models of that ping driver and trying to figure something out, but it feels really, really close as you try to figure out what is good for Victor Hovland. So I've got him top 5, roughly targeting that 6-1 range for Victor.
Next one, I like 6-1 Victor. I feel like this is a good course for him. What's our next pick?
Chris Goddard up to finish inside the top 10. This is a little bit shorter, but the way that he played last week is not indicative of what his finishing position was. I think he ended up finishing T18. He just completely coughed it up on Sunday, which is something we don't see him do. He was fantastic the rest of the week. Obviously, the victories already this year. I think this is probably one of the better setups for him. So I'm going top 10, finished on the first page of the leaderboard for Chris Gotterup. That 3-1, maybe I'd even go a little bit shorter than that. Maybe anywhere between 250 and 300 would be a pretty good price for Chris Gotterup.
I saw a stat that you can't miss left at TPC Sawgrass. Like the left miss is much worse than the right miss. And I saw also that the other two courses that had that profile were Sony and Phoenix, and he did pretty well in both those tournaments. He won them both.
Well, he rips that low cut, that low fade, basically every single time off the tee. Yeah, TPC Sawgrass, there's like a lot of water left, a lot of big numbers left off the tee. So yeah, this would be a pretty good spot for him.
All right, next one.
Minwoo Lee. Really rounding into form. A lot of it's driven by the putter. He's using that. It's a prototype. I don't think it's out yet. It's a turtle putter from Odyssey, and it is working for him. He's gaining strokes a ton on the putting surfaces, and he's always been such a great driver of the ball. So now he's starting to put different facets of his game together, and the results are coming through. This is a big time event for him. Minwoo early in his career was really good at majors, was really good at the Players. He had a couple of good runs with like a bunch of top 20s. It's cooled off since, but I don't think this is too big for him. But I'm going to ask him to finish inside the top 20, and I'm targeting that plus 150 range for Minwoo Lee if I can find it.
Yeah, I remember he had the lead at this tournament. I think he had like a 4-shot lead going into Sunday one year. He was hitting that driving iron all over the place. All right, we have a couple of fun picks. So we are going to go for winning score over 270.5. So it has to be 17 under or higher at minus 140. We've been clamoring for some teeth out there on the golf course. 15 under at Bay Hill. The course played really tough, but I want to see Sawgrass stand up. And I think 18 under just sounds like a really low score. So we're going to go over 270.5 strokes.
I was looking at this. I think this would have hit, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this would have hit like every year except for one back to like 1995.
Yeah,
I think Scotty was the only one.
I think it's because the scores have been so damn low this year, like absolutely everywhere, But I did see Wilcox was talking about how long the rough is. Are you in Ponte Vedra? Have you got to look at the course?
Yeah, I was out there for a couple hours this morning. The rough is like real juicy. I mean, it is very thick. Some of the spots where where those moguls are on a couple of holes, like I think it's gonna be pretty tough. There is a little rain in the forecast for Thursday. I think it's afternoon, which might soften some things up, but there's always a chance of like afternoon rain in Florida. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I thought it looked pretty tough out there.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be fucking perfect at Bay Hill, and it poured like crazy when we were there. But also, I think Brian Rolap, he's doing his big press conference on Wednesday. I think he's going to, declare that this is a major or whatever it is. So I think they're going to want to make a statement. I think
you can't have a 20 under par the year you're saying this is a major.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like I think they're gonna beefing up the course because they want it to be, like in that 12 under range. And then we're gonna have, this is a fun one because you're in it no matter what happens. The winner to par, we're going to say the winner does not par the 72nd hole. Plus 130 is what we're looking at here. It could be a birdie. It could be a bogey. It just can't be a par. And that 18th hole, Rick, is not easy.
Dude, I have not been here for the Players before. I've been down here before, but I've not been here for the Players before. And I stood on the 18th tee today and just laughed. It just laughed. I mean, like having to choose a line, and I realized why all those guys want to bail out into the trees on the right. Like it is terrifying. So this kind of gets you both ways here, Dan. Plus money on, hey, maybe the winner does go out and make a birdie and steal this thing or whatever. Or you also get kind of the bogey side of it, right? We've seen guys win this with a bogey on 18. It is not that unheard of. That hole is no joke. I thought it was so great to stand on the tee this morning.
Thank you so much, Rick. We'll see you on Wednesday. We're going to do random player generator.
I will see you then. Have a great time. Safe travels, y'all.
See you soon. I also want to remind everyone, go to Novig, and you can make these exchanges, all the ones we talked about, and make your own as well. If you've got, hey, I think this guy's going to shoot this in the first round, you can sort of cook up your own. It's a super awesome product. All right, Ben. It's time for the dog race.
Is it time?
It is time for the dog race.
We're staying on theme today.
Okay.
There's a big betting theme, a little
exchange,
bit of an exchange going on. So last week you collected $20 from Tommy Fleetwood.
I did.
It was a big moment for us.
It was good.
I want to know Who would you least like to owe money to out of everyone on tour that you could possibly owe money to? And there are a lot of reasons why you might owe money to somebody. You might lose to them in a bet. You might a business deal, or maybe something else. So there's scenarios.
A lot of overlap here with the bar fight, I think.
With the bar fight? Yeah, probably the same type of characters.
Yeah. Let's run through them.
But they're not all the same. So I'm going to give you Tommy first, who you've already won. You're 1-0, so you want to owe money to him again. Or Scotty, someone you're going to see at every event you go to, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't want to pay that back to Tommy. That was a hard-earned $20, and I want to keep that $20, and I want to take more money off him, so I'm going with Tommy on that one.
Okay, are we going to keep rolling with Tommy, or can you imagine the voice notes you would get from Ian Poulter if you owed him money?
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun. He also, I'm become friendly with his son, so he could sort of deputize his son to like break my legs if I owed him money. So right. I don't want to owe money to Ian Poulter, and I think he might flame me on the internet, so I'm going with Ian Poulter.
So Ian hangs on. All right, this is a perennial contender in this game. Wyndham Clark, you wouldn't like him when he's angry.
I would just pay right away. So I actually wouldn't mind owing him money because there would just be so much pressure on me to just pay him right away. So I'm sticking with Ian Poulter.
Okay. Ludwig Oberg, and this means that Liverpool beat United.
Oh God, yeah, I don't want that to happen. That would be our bet. The game is coming up in a couple weeks. I'm sure I will be making a little wager with Ludwig, so I'm going to go with Ludwig because I don't want to lose to the Scousers. Absolutely not.
Would you rather owe money to Ludwig or Phil Mickelson, a guy who knows a guy who can break your thumbs?
Yeah, no, don't want to owe Phil money. Don't want to owe Phil money. Pretty self-explanatory there. Do not want to owe Phil money. He also, he'd go on the internet, go on Twitter and talk about, not just the oil situation in Santa Barbara County, but also how I owe him money. So I don't
add you to his.
I don't want to have to pay Phil money. Absolutely. How about that tan line on that picture though? Woo! Right. That's a man who wears a lot of gloves on his right hand.
Spends a lot of time outside.
Yes.
Him or his buddy Greg Norman, who can feed you to the fishes. He knows a few sharks out there.
Yeah, don't want to owe Greg Norman money. Absolutely not. He knows
more so than Phil.
Yeah, more so than Phil.
Okay,
I'm going with Greg Norman. Just those eyes, I wouldn't want the Charles Dance figure of golf to be after me. I'm sticking with Greg Norman there.
All right. Would you rather not get Ric Flaired by Greg Norman or deal with one of Sergio Garcia's temper tantrums?
I'm sticking with Greg.
Sticking with Greg?
I mean, Greg's going to be a tough one to beat in this game, if we're being honest, given, what he's been up to the last
These last two are going to give him a run for his money.
Okay.
Would you rather owe money to Greg Norman or would you rather owe money to Patrick Harrington, who we now know is scary as fuck?
Is he scary?
Don't talk to my golf ball was a scary moment.
You
dude.
thought that was scary?
That made me afraid.
It made you afraid.
To cross him.
I'm sticking with Greg. I think Patty's all in good fun.
You're tougher than me.
I might be a little bit tougher than you. I'm sticking with Greg Norman, but I'm excited to see who our last one is.
Are you tough enough to owe money to an actual convict, Angel Cabrera?
Poof, bro. You went to Angel here?
Yeah. You don't owe him money.
No, I don't. But also, I don't want to. Oh, that's a tough one.
I mean, Greg Norman's
I'm sticking with Greg
thrown
Norman.
you in the ocean.
I'm sticking with Greg Norman.
Okay. Feed you to the fishes.
Yeah, but he also can't collect because he's already, if he does something again, he's like away for life on hell.
That's true.
So I feel like I'm okay there.
You're safe. Okay.
Greg Norman. Greg Norman is the person that I would least like to owe money to, even though I might have still stuck with Ludwig because I really don't want United to lose.
Yeah.
If I could do that over, I might start. I might stick with Ludwig. All right, we're going to finish with our chirps from the gallery. There's this guy on the internet who just gets really mad. And you were talking about we should do a deep dive on the gambling community that just takes out their frustrations on X like it's their diary. Let's show this first one.
Main character.
Michael Griffin. Tommy Fleetwood double on 9. Just leave now and stick the Ryder Cup up your ass. This is a real tournament, not a 4-ball match. Okay. Jesus. I hope that made you feel better. Everyone got this alert for Justin Thomas when he had a couple holes left at Bay Hill. It was from ESPN. Justin Thomas plus 13 in danger of missing the cut line, which is plus 2 with 2 holes remaining at Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. I think he's in more than danger.
You're in danger, girl.
Yeah, I think he would have to make like a -2 on each of those holes to make the cut. So that would have been one hell of a cut line rally. We were talking about, our Dankings today was some real sicko shit. This is even more sicko shit. I guess you can find out where the sprinklers are on golf tournaments. So the golf engineer says, guys, I've fallen deep into the turf management corner of X. This sprinkler system is incredible. I don't know anything about sprinklers, but I'm ready to learn.
So much respect for
I'm
the golf
absolutely
engineer.
ready to learn. The playoff record, Akshay Bhatia has 3 wins now on the PGA Tour, all of them in playoffs. He's 3-0. And Patrick McDonald from CBS says every time a golfer's playoff record gets brought up, I can't help but think of the Steelers. Akshay is only 24 and already has 3 playoff wins. Meanwhile, the Steelers have 0 since the 2016 season.
Hey, P-Mac, get your mouth off my team.
Yeah, you're a Steelers guy.
They have won more Super Bowls than any other NFL team.
Is that right?
Except somebody else has 6. The Patriots have 6.
Okay.
So the Patriots and the Steelers.
They almost passed you, except for they got absolutely fucked up by the Seahawks.
So don't come with my Steelers. They're great.
I would like to buy Dan Berger. Pretty good consolation prize for finishing second. Yeah, he was bummed not to win, but Doug Ferguson from the AT. Consolation prize for Berger, $2.2 million for second place in the elevated event. Spot in the British Open, should move well inside top 40 and be set for the Masters. Nice to see Boog back in action. Fan video. All I see on my list is fan video, so let's show a fan video. Oh, this is what they were talking about. Okay.
Videos.
Shane Ryan. Yeah, so we were watching this in the playoff, and everybody had their phone out, and they're right in front of you, and all those videos are going to look the exact same. Where was Michelob Ultra guy when we needed him? Shane says, nobody's going to care about your dumb video because the entire round is televised and you are giving up another chance to experience something as a human. What bothers me about this the most, it's okay to take a video, but you can still look. Right. They're all looking at their phones.
Right. You got the angle.
You're that close. You know what you're going to see.
We also noticed them all put their phones down because they thought something was happening.
Yeah.
It was in unison.
Yeah. Berger stepped off and then everyone went like this and went back to reality and then they went like this. They should get to the brick. I got the brick for my phone. It's changed my life. The PGA Tour app does this little fire ring, right. when someone's on fire, but Chris Powers doesn't you can't have the fire ring in even par. We need to have standards. I get it. He probably just made a birdie. It's algorithmic. Let's fix that. And then Chris Powers again. Or no, we have a range shot tracking data. We're going to have that this week.
Oh, cool.
At the Players Championships. We saw this at the Masters. I think they've kind of pioneered this. We saw it at other majors. The PGA Tour is adding shot tracking data for every shot hit on the driving range this week at TPC Sawgrass. The feature will also be available at other signature events and the playoff events later this season. So it's cool. You love to see when something appears on the Masters, like a year or two later, it's going to appear everywhere else. And that's it for us. But before we go, I want to talk to you guys about let's bring up the Chris Powers thing. He said, I love Berger, and I think he'll probably win soon, but it is amazing how he was getting he really battled treatment yesterday from everyone. He was beating Akshay by 5 with 9 to go. Johnny would have filleted him. I miss Johnny Miller all the time. You know what I think is funny about this one? He couldn't even bring himself to go full Johnny Miller. He started it with, I love Berger, and he's going to win soon. He softened the blow before, Johnny wouldn't soften the blow. Johnny would just talk. He wouldn't say, I love this guy. He's going to win soon.
He would hit the utter woke
Bring the hammer, utter woke nonsense. So before we go, Zone Nicotine warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, underage sale prohibited. Golf's all about having the right club for the right situation. The same goes for Zone nicotine pouches, offering a variety of bold flavors available in strengths of 6 milligrams and 9 milligrams. Whether you're a fan of dragon fruit, like me, we just got a big shipment of the dragon fruit in. Yeah. We've got the jalapeno lime here, mint, citrus, subtle or spicy. You're sure to find intensity and flavor that lasts. Want Zone nicotine pouches at a discount mailed right to your door? Get 20% off at nicokick.com/zone. That's NICOKICK.com/zone when you use promo code DanOnGolf20. Before we leave you with our clip of the week, a little programming note. We're going to be live. I think we're going to have a pretty sweet spot at the Players, from what I gather, at TPC Sawgrass. That show will be Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We've been loving the Wednesday shows. Then we'll be back for the watch-along. Whether Ben is there or our special guest is there remains to be seen. But we are going to leave you with our clip of the week. It's John Daly II. He made his first PGA Tour start. He was up there. He was like 2 back at one point on Sunday. Had a bit of a mess on the back 9, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'll leave you with this clip, and we'll see you guys back on Wednesday.
What are you going to work on today, if anything, just to keep the momentum going for tomorrow?
I would say I go hit balls, but I'm a little tired, so I'm just going to probably go to the beach and do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.